Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and I wanted to give you a field guide report for Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, the 1990s American Pro Wrestling campaign, where I'm playing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and another player character has jumped in and started playing Bret Hart. And I just really wanted to encourage you out there. So first of all, physical table games are hard. I run at my FLGS, and there's a play group there, right? And actually, I also run at my own home at different times, right? But the reality is, running a physical table game, a lot of people will tell you dungeon mastering is easy. That is absurd. Dungeon mastering is extremely difficult, and the reason why is there's a lot of attention for people's time, right? Like, movies are trying to get people's time. Big screen's trying to get people's time. Small screen is trying to get people's time. Writers are trying to get people's time with books. Musicians are trying to get people's time with music. Video games are video games are crushing it. Like, they're getting everybody's time with a million different games that cost literally billions, right? Like, and so it's tough. It's really tough. And I really wanted to encourage you with the story of our Marvel Multiverse RPG, which we use the 616 system to run an alternate history for 1990s American pro wrestling. Basically, and specifically the wrestlers who wrestled in the WWF. And we have a narrator who's an absolute subject matter expert on it. And the way we started was I just was like, "Hey, let's run this." And my narrator was like, "Okay." And then we invited some people, and they said no. So we only had one player. It was just me and another me and the narrator, right? So we jump in, and I'm playing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and the game starts right. And we finish the session one, and then we come into session two again by ourselves, right? And literally in the FLGS, one of our friends walks in and says, "What are you guys up to?" And I'm like, I'm playing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And he's like, "Bet, I'm in, right? I want to play Bret Hart," right? And immediately jumped in, played Bret Hart. Wrestled him for the Intercontinental title, The Rock versus Bret Hart. And that's a match that never actually happened, you know what I mean? And we branched the timeline based on the players who were showing up and what they were excited about. So then we had two players, right? And then I'm at the FLGS, and somebody comes over and is like, "Hey, I heard you guys were running a American Pro Wrestling game. How did you not invite me?" And that person was extremely excited about the Undertaker, right? So I think what's really cool is Marvel Multiverse invites in a narrator and a player, and you could start with just that, right? And if you're at an FLGS, people can, like, we've added players by people just seeing, what are you guys doing? And they come over and they're like, "Oh, you're running a Marvel game," and we're like, "No, we're running 1990s American Pro Wrestling," and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I want in." And then as the game gains momentum, and this is the power of an FLGS, others can jump in because they hear, if you start something and you iterate it and you succeed on those iterations, you can add additional players, and that is extremely exciting. And so first, Marvel Multiverse is drawing people in, and then what I think is really interesting and what is really cool is not just Marvel Multiverse RPG drawing people in, but the world drawing people in. And I think the WWF has been incredibly compelling, and people who are coming to the table know the history of the WWF. They know what happened at these WrestleManias. Like, this guy came in, he sat down and he showed me, like, entrances from the Undertaker and why he was excited about the Undertaker. And it's really fascinating. But I'm just really fascinated about how Marvel Multiverse role-playing game can attract players, because it's foundationally built from Dungeons and Dragons, which is a huge. It is the most Dungeons and Dragons is the most powerful tabletop draw that's ever been created, right? And then Marvel is grounded in Dungeons and Dragons, and then with Marvel you can run anything, and those worlds can really draw in players. So I really want to encourage you: start small, don't give up, don't be afraid of small starts, and honestly, here's the other one: don't be afraid if it stays small, right? If you can learn, grow, and change in a game where there's one narrator and one player. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider like, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.